bewegen, dich auf die Tanzfläche bewegen. Und nun geht es los.
You're listening to Däs Bündesliga Show here on the Lock Betting Podcast. You can follow Lock Betting on X at Lock Betting X. That's at Lock Betting X. On that account, we do post some free plays, but the most significant thing that we post is our monthly profit and loss spreadsheet. And you can currently see the profit and loss spreadsheet for the first month of the year, the month of January 2024, which was good for £3,094, which once converted, converts to just shy of $4,000. So a monster month bolstered by NFL futures. We had over 14 units of futures added to that P&L, sorry. And we also blitzed the Super Bowl last weekend, capping off a incredibly strong NFL season. We've also had an incredibly strong soccer season as well, and we look to continue it this weekend. You can see every single play that we put out on the spreadsheets, and the spreadsheets add up to 128 months in a row of transparent and tracked profit. Unfortunately, one of the plays that is not going in our direction is a future, and that future requires Bayern Munich to win the league ahead of Bayer Leverküsen. Last weekend, Leverkusen got the nightmare win we were all fearing in the 6-pointer top of the table clash against Bayern Munich. And it's not so concerning for me that they won the game, because a 5-point gap is retrievable with 13 games to go. I do believe that Leverkusen will get some butterflies. They will get some nerves as we get to the home straight, especially if Bayern Munich keep winning. Leverkusen also have the more difficult schedule with a trip to Borussia Dortmund in their future. But it was the manner of the defeat. It was Leverkusen showing that they can take apart anybody in convincing fashion, and it was the absolute shit show of a performance from Bayern Munich, who followed it up by not scoring again against Lazio in midweek. So back-to-back poor performances, a team definitely moving in the wrong direction. If they actually exit the Champions League, there's a chance that Tuchel doesn't even finish the season in charge of Bayern Munich. So big concerns here for that play. And we actually begin by looking at Bayer Leverkusen. They travel to Heidenheim this weekend. They are the 1-3 minus 300 favourites. It's 17-4 on the draw, and Heidenheim are the 7-1 home underdogs. This is a juggernaut. They will drop points. We want them to drop points, but until we see some regression from them, we're just going to continue riding them to recoup some of the money that we could potentially lose at the end of the season. This is a team who have no losses in 35 straight games. They do come up against a competent opponent who themselves have no losses in 9, but Leverkusen come into this one with 3 straight wins. And also, if you look at their form overall, it's really difficult to know where to take it back to, because they've absolutely destroyed the entire season. This is a side who have won 81% of their overall games, 80% away from home and 82% at home, 0% losses across the board. They are generating a 2.01 XG overall per game. They've scored better than that. They've scored 6.2 goals per game. And against them, They've only got an XG of 1.08. They've also managed to keep clean sheets in 52% of their games. If you look at the overall metrics for goals, they have seen over 2.5 goals cash in 76% of their games. Now, considering their BTTS metric is only at 48%, that doesn't guarantee a contribution from the other team. So it doesn't guarantee a contribution from Heidenheim, for example, here. Yet we're still going over 2.5 goals 76% of the time, because this team are a goal-scoring machine. A machine I'm not going to stand in front of today. Their league record speaks for itself. As I said, it's difficult to know where to take the form back to. They've won 9 of 11 home games, drawing 2. They've won 8 of 10 away games, drawing 2. Points per game average away from home is 2.6. Overall points per average is 2.62. So this is a team who is an absolute monster. They are the informed team across Europe, and whilst Bayern Munich are in danger of winning absolutely nothing, this is a team who could win the Cup, the League and the Europa League as well, meaning that Xabi Alonso will be the number one and most in-demand manager in world football come the summer. So we are going to take Bayer Leverküsen to win this game. We are going to tack on the over 2.5 goals because of the cash percentage that we just covered. And that brings the play up to 10 to 11 minus 110, rather than taking them at 1 to 3 minus 300 here on the money line here for this one. Up next, we're going to actually skip the other plays happening at 2:30, because we did spend a lot of time looking at this Bayer Leverkusen machine, and we're going to go straight to the 5:30 kickoff and look at the game here between RB Leipzig and Borussia Mönchengladbach, where Leipzig are the 2-5 favourites, 9-2 on the draw, and it's 6-1 here on Mönchengladbach. Leipzig look like a team that might drop out of the Champions League places because of the form that Dortmund have been in since the start of 2024. In order for them to qualify for the Champions League, they're going to need a drop-off from Dortmund, who they're 3 points behind, and even from Stuttgart, who they are now 6 points behind. I mean, at this point, the biggest drop-off looks to be coming from Bayern Munich, but we know Bayern Munich are going to put that right, even though they go into their game this weekend having lost 2 of their last 6. Leipzig going in even worse form. They only have 1 win in their last 6, and this has to be a get-right game against a Gladbach team who have only won 1 of their last 6. I think that's exactly what it will be here for RB Leipzig, but I do think that Gladbach could make a goal contribution en route, and that's why we're going to tack on over 2.5 goals the same way we did here for the first game. Gladbach are a side who travel poorly. They have suffered 5 away defeats already this season, but they have scored in each of those losses, giving us more confidence for our over 2.5 goals. Leipzig have won 6 of their 8 home meetings with sides below them in the table, so I do think they will be able to win a game with goals in it. So our selection here for the game is to take RB Leipzig to win it and to get away from that 2-5 line by adding on over 2.5 goals, hopefully with a Gladbach contribution. But if not, we will need Leipzig to score 3 goals here, and that bumps it up to 4-5 minus 125, getting us away from the 2-5 that we have for the money line here for this one. Up next, we jump across to Sunday, and this is where we will look at our friends Bayern Munich. Before we do that, let's look at the game here between Freiburg and Frankfurt, which has significant implications for the European places. Frankfurt at the moment are 5 points behind RB Leipzig and 8 points behind Dortmund. So we are looking more so at Europa League places, and Freiburg are 4 points behind Frankfurt going into this game. And if they beat them, they can reduce that gap just down to a single point. So definitely more related to Europa and Europa Conference League rather than Champions League, which I think is now a little bit unrealistic for both of these teams at this juncture. Freiburg, who are stronger at home for sure, are the 13-10 favourites to win it. It's 12-5 on the draw, and it's 2-1 here on Frankfurt. I think Freiburg will win this game, but I only want to bet on them to score 2 goals, which is exactly at the same price. Once they do score a couple of goals, we're done, and we don't need them to see it out, because I do think this will be an end-to-end attacking game. Freiburg are a side who have scored at least 2 goals in 6 of their 9 home league games this season, while Frankfurt, they have conceded 2 or more in 5 of their last 6 Bundesliga away matches. Despite losing 3 games in a row lately, Freiburg are much better at home. They have 5 wins and 3 draws from their 10 home league games this season, whilst Frankfurt, they don't travel great. They've lost 3 of the last 5 aways, but they do usually score away from home, and that may force Freiburg to score a couple of goals if they want to win this game. But Frankfurt, as I mentioned, have conceded 2 or more in 5 of the last 6 Bundesliga away games, whilst Freiburg have scored 2 or more goals in 6 of the last 9 Bundesliga home games. So we're going to take the team total here, and it's at the same price, plus money at 13-10, plus 130 here for this one. Up next, we do move on to Bayern, and we are desperate for them to win. They travel to Bochum, where they are the 2-5 favourites to win the game. It's 9-2 on the draw, and it's 7-1 here on Bochum. We avoided taking any kind of official play on them away to Lazio and thinking they'd bounce back there because they didn't, and that was lucky for us. And we now look at this one thinking maybe this is the spot to get back on the Bayern Munich train, looking to bounce back from 2 defeats where they didn't score a single goal. But the data is favourable to Bochum. Bochum have avoided defeat in 9 of their 10 Bundesliga games, 9 of their 10 Bundesliga home games, winning 3 of their last 5. They also beat Bayern Munich in this fixture 2 years ago, if you remember. It was an embarrassing defeat at Bochum for Bayern Munich. Go and look it up on YouTube. And they're coming up here against a side that has failed to win 2 of their last 4 away league games in Bayern Munich. So Bayern Munich are not in very, very good form by their standards coming into this one. They are 5 points behind in the title race. And for us and for them, any win will do. Any win will do, but I'm not willing to take them here on the money line at their short price, given their recent form. There doesn't seem to be any kind of movement or concession for the fact that Bayern Munich have been poor lately. And to be honest, you have to take advantage of that in the Bochum market. We're going to take Bochum with a 1.5 goal start here. So Bayern Munich can still win. But if they win by 2 goals, that's how you lose this play. If Bochum avoided defeat, you win. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. If Bochum lose, but they only lose by a single goal, which is what I think will happen here, because I do think Bochum will score and make it even more difficult for Bayern, then you end up cashing the selection. You only lose if Bayern Munich make a solid bounce back and win this by a couple of goals. But for me, I don't think that's going to be the case. Bayern Munich don't like playing against Bochum. They lost to them last season. Bochum are difficult to beat at home. They've avoided defeat in 9 of their 10 Bundesliga home matches, winning 3 of the last 5. Bochum have scored in all 10 of their home games this season, including 9 of their last 5 at home, including they've scoring 9 goals in their last 5 at home. Whilst Bayern Munich, they have failed to score in their last 2 games, but they're expected to come out swinging, and they're probably going to need to score 2, maybe even 3 goals to come away with the points here in this one. I think that Bochum plus 1.5 goals provides some value, especially as it's at plus money at 21-20, plus 105 here for this one. Closing out with your lock on the show, we're going to take something here on Leverkusen, because I think we are already heading into hedge territory where we need to get some positivity out of Leverkusen results as they continue to win and march towards the Bundesliga title. We are admittedly in a poor position with that particular future. So we're going to play it very safe. We are going to take Bayer Leverkusen on the money line. If you shop around, you can get them at 2-5 instead of taking that 4-11 or the 1-3. The 1-3 we quoted is actually gone across the board. As I look at the updated prices as I'm doing my lot this morning, more 4-11 is the more common money line price, with 2-5 quite widely available. So we're going to play it safe. We're going to take Leverkusen at 2-5, and we're going to pair them up with Arsenal from the English Premier League. Now, Arsenal was the lock on the EPL show as well. Different to the money line, though, we did take Arsenal to cover a Asian handicap on that show. Here, we're just going to play it safe and take straight money line. We're going to take Leverkusen on the money line with Arsenal on the money line in a 2-team money line parlay. We had Arsenal and we think it's safe because they are on a 4-match winning streak and have kept 5 clean sheets in their away games already this season against the Burnley side, who have failed to score in 5 of their home games and have lost 9 of their 12 home league games this season. Running through the other data, we've seen Arsenal win against the bottom 8 100% of the time with 10 wins from 10, scoring 28 goals. We've seen Villa, Liverpool, City, Spurs, Chelsea, Palace and Everton all win by more than 1 goal away to Burnley, whilst Burnley are the worst set-piece team in the league, coming up against Arsenal, who are the best set-piece team in the league. So if even Arsenal get themselves into a jam, they're not playing well, they're coming up against a solid defensive low block. They are the team who can unlock the game with a set-piece rather than Burnley, because usually these underdogs, they set up with a defensive low block. They're looking for a counter-attack. They're looking for a set-piece or a rub of the green. But in this instance, it can be Arsenal who unlock the deadlock. If they are in one, I think Arsenal win convincingly. But that set-piece metric does favour Arsenal, with Burnley being the worst and Arsenal being the best. So once again, your lock here on this show is a 2-team parlay with Leverkusen at 2-5 and Arsenal available here at 1-3. Combining these 2 selections together, the 2-5 and the 1-3 minus 300, gives you a payout of £187 from a £100 stake. So the odds here are 87 to 100. There are plays I like across the Bundesliga. I was tempted to parlay something together with Bayer Leverküsen from the Bundesliga to make this a Bundesliga parlay. But if I look across the board this weekend, Arsenal are the team who I am most certain about. So if we're heading into hedge territory, what I feel like we're doing here is basically taking Leverkusen at 87 to 100 to win this weekend. There is no way, in my opinion, that Leverkusen should be as closely priced to Arsenal as they are, despite the fact that Leverkusen have been an absolute monster this season. And losing this lock would not be heartbreaking for me, and it should not be heartbreaking for you either. That's it for me. Good luck with all of your bets as always, and thanks for listening.